Hi, Julie. Welcome to your reading. I'm sorry this is so late. This week has just kicked me in the booty. So you are getting the pajama version of me, which is crazy hair, no makeup, and no bra, because that's what Saturdays are for, right? So I've just kind of been meditating on what I should share with you as I've been shuffling a little bit. I'm going to shuffle a few more times here, and then get started with your reading. So, excuse me. What I like to tell people is that is to take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. And when I say resonate, if you can think of like this like sound vibrations. When something resonates, no matter what the key or the chord is, it vibrates a little bit. Okay, and when it doesn't resonate, it's flat. There's no response. So in thinking about that, what you're looking for are things that kind of make you tingle a little bit, maybe make you agitated a little bit. Something that you can feel, in kind of, here where you really feel that like, either like, oh, yes, that's so right, or, oh, gosh, I had a feeling. Because resonating doesn't mean it's always good. Some people will take it, they think that means like, I think some people think that that's a cop-out on my end when I say take what resonates, and I'm telling you, like, take what makes you feel good. But resonation doesn't always mean that it feels good. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. You basically, when you have no response to it, and generally when you can't even remember it, is when it doesn't resonate with you. So if you can remember it, good or bad, it's probably something to pay attention to. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna get going. I wish I could show you these cards better. I kind of did a Celtic cross layout. I'm gonna be following that design a little bit here, but let's see if we can show you the spread. I feel like that's always helpful. I like to look at the cards. They're very pretty. There we go. Are we up above them enough? There we go. So I'll let you take a minute to look. Trying to get closer, but it's hard when you're angling a camera this way. Oh, that way, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm probably annoying you. Okay, I'll just hold it right there. So there's a lot to unpack here. And I just want to say, like, there's nothing magical about what I'm doing. I'm just literally constantly asking what I should share, and then I share that. So pieces don't always come together for me until I keep kind of working with the cards a little bit. And so things, you may notice that progression. The very first card I laid is the Emperor card, and this is you in present day, present moment even. And the Emperor is a very masculine card. As you can see, he's the ruler of his land. Yeah, there's a sense of strong masculinity coming through for you. Getting shit done is what I hear. And you know, the thing about masculinity and femininity is all of us contain both of these energies. Our masculine side tends to be a little bit more leader driven, very goal oriented, very action focused, production, etc. And whereas our feminine side tends to be a little bit softer, nurturing, the mother type, a little bit more willing to be vulnerable, and know that vulnerability is an asset and a strength. Whereas masculinity, they see strength as strength. And so you have these two complementing and playing with one another. You're leaning right now with the Emperor being a lot closer to the masculine side, and it's not a negative at all. A lot of women have strong masculine traits. A lot of those women tend to be CEOs or editors of magazines, or really capable, headstrong businesswomen, and I'm sure we know some of those. So it's not to be a negative. It's just kind of where you are right now. King of Swords is where you were. And this is, I would say this is a good evolution for you. As you can see, the king is very guarded, very bundled, very protected in a sheet of armor, as well as using that sword. And swords can symbolize words. And so to me, this is a very defensive card, using words as a defense, being very cold and locked up is what I'm hearing. But you're transitioning and moving into the Ten of Cauldrons, which you can see now is a little bit more of a fair balance between the masculine and feminine. We have both the masculine and feminine playing in this card. There's also children in this card, and Cauldrons is also cups in other decks, and it's usually in this I'm getting like overflowing abundance. This is a happy family. This is a group of people who want to be around each other, who are enjoying celebrating each other. And look, they all have their own cup in their hand, which I think is really brilliant. You talk about like equality. This is a picture of equality right here. Both the mom and the dad have their own cup. The child has his or her own cup, and they're surrounded by even more cups. So there's an idea that you're moving toward a place. What you're fighting for here as the Emperor is a place of abundance and equality, where there's a balance between what each person in the family holds and what they get to have for themselves. There's a sense of getting to retain a sense of yourself for yourself, and each person having permission to do that. To me, that's a very good sign of health. That's kind of the opposite of codependence. If that's something you've ever struggled with, I want you to know that you're moving toward a place of really healthy equality and individuality. It doesn't mean that they're separate from one another, right? They're still all together in this place. They are enjoying each other. They are loving each other, but they're doing so from their own well being filled and then overflowing to one another. First and foremost, you're a little bit of, let's see. So this is this is the card that was crossing you, okay, and it appears to be a barrier. And what I keep getting is fear and doubt. And this is in your mind. It's your belief system that needs to change. If you're gonna get to the place of equality and happiness and healthy individuality, it's gonna be your belief system that needs to be worked through, be reconciled with. Because this is a very sad person here, and a sad person, and there is a child back there with a cup, and there is a cup for this person, but the cups are spilling and there's no joy. It doesn't appear to be a place where that the happiness of that health has been actualized yet. Again, though, I'm getting this is all in your mind. Okay, so this is going to be something where you are going to have to remind yourself that the good you want is on its way. The good you want is on its way. And in fact, the work you are doing is getting you there. Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to feel out these two cards here. So these are your helpers, the Nine of Rods. I want you to take a close look at her face, okay? I'm getting that these are your guides, actually. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And I'm actually going to flip her back up so you can see her. Note the look on their faces. All right. These are your guides. You have the Nine of Rods here. She's very suspicious. I don't know if suspicious, but that's what I see in her face. She's very cautious. She is noting the way ahead. And then you have the Queen of Pentacles, and who's kind of, she's a very maternal figure. And very concerned with earthly things. So you have these two helping you to navigate. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because you don't have to take on their worries and their concerns. Okay? You don't need yourself to become very wary and suspicious and on guard. Okay? Because you've got the Nine of Rods chick here to do that for you. Okay? You don't have to worry at this point about all the kind of matriarchal, maternal things that you see need to happen in your life. You've got the Queen of Pentacles to handle that for you. Okay? So these are what your guides, these are your guides. This is, they're here to help you. And I mean, no matter where you stand on the whole spirituality thing, guides are really helpful, special beings, and they can take the shape of many things. They can be people you've known. They can be, you know, what have you. If you are curious about meeting spiritual guides, there are some, there are meditations that are online that you can do, like on YouTube, that will help you meet your guides. I have done that before. I have my own guide journey is interesting. I've met my guides before, but then I also kind of went through a transition in the spring where I felt like a God being was coming back to me and saying, you just report to me from now on. But I still believe that guides are out there for each of us. So it's okay if you don't. You don't have to, you know, whatever. The point of all of that is just for you to relieve yourself of the responsibility that these two are taking on, which is one, the maternal care and guidance, kind of the nurturing of things, and two is the guarded, protective part of you. You can release those, and I think that will help a little bit with some of the fear and doubt that's coming up, because you're in a place where the masculine energy is very important to you, and you need that energy to accomplish what you're accomplishing. And I think what I'm getting is that the internal battle is between the masculine and feminine, and feeling the pull toward, maybe not even the pull, but the responsibility toward your feminine side, the responsibility toward the guarded protector, toward the maternal mother, almost an obligation to act out those parts in your life, and I just want you to know that you don't need to right now. You do have them in the form of your guides guiding you through. Yeah. So, yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm saying things very confidently. Honestly, it's just stuff that's coming out. So again, this is where a good point to check in, like, if all of this sounds like shit, totally dismiss it. If it's sticking with you, though, explore why. Okay. Okay. So I'm kind of looking at these cards in mass. There's all kinds of ways you can look at the Celtic cross. I kind of just go with my gut. So the you get the Fool down here, and the Fool isn't as harsh as it sounds. A lot of it is really just beginning, and I'm getting like a sense of rebirth for you, a time of starting anew. But this time is it's almost like you get to start anew, but you get to carry all the knowledge and wisdom that you gained in your last life through with you to this new birth. And so there's like this sense of rebirth, but then also the fire is really sticking out to me. If you see the baby reaching for the fire, it's a sense of like being reborn out of fire, kind of like the phoenix, that whole mythology story where, the phoenix burns down and then is reborn from the flames, from the ashes of the old. And I get a sense of that with you. And this time around, there's just this really calm, peaceful sense of knowing about you, that you have the illusion card upside down, which is really like, this illusion is dead to you. You are no longer buying into preconceived ideas or, there's really no other way to say it but illusion. An illusion is something that doesn't really exist. And I'm kind of getting this sense of like, maybe the life you thought you would live, or it's almost like, those the dreams we had when we were in our 20s, or even when we were 10 and we were thinking about what our life would be like. And so much of that is influenced by like our social like pressures on women, family pressures on women, depending on what your background is. But there's a sense of like, you thought you'd be kind of closer to your illusion than you are at this point. And I'm just kind of getting the like the typical like married with children kind of picture, not Al Bundy, but that like kind of warm and fuzzy idea that we had when we were kids. But you've come to a place where you've really set those illusions aside and you're embracing you and your life in all of its uniqueness. And so this beginning, this really fresh beginning, is very real and very clear, and it just feels like you're awake. It's that sense of you're awake. You put aside the dreaming and the night dreaming, the unrealistic kind of daydreaming-ish thing, and you're really awake to, I don't know, it's like sobering, but I wish I could explain. It's just so much more positive and peaceful than that. It's like a calm equilibrium. You're starting this new phase out on the calm equilibrium, able to take in new information, able to evaluate that information, able to discard what you need, what you don't need, really envelop what you do need. It's a very, very just clear-eyed, awake sense. And I get this sense there's going to be people pressuring you to go back, but you know how to handle that now. There's a sense of you know how to handle that now, and you don't feel a need to defend yourself, and at the same time you can calmly explain yourself, and in a way that kind of silences your the people who are up against you. So your last card is really interesting to me. So you have the Ace of Pentacles here in reverse. This is kind of where I was getting the feeling of the people who are going to be pushing up against you, not quite understanding. Because an Ace of Pentacles is usually a sign of beginning, but this one's upside down. And it's just a really curious table because it has these weird horns coming out of it. Can you see those? But your final card here is the World. And I want to give you enough time to kind of glance at this. It's a really interesting culmination of all the other cards. You'll see the table here. You see the cup right here. The sword up here. Ooh, over there. Okay. And then you have this like divine feminine being who who's just kind of like showering galaxies out of her body. But this was in reverse. Okay, so this is actually upside down. And I'm just getting the sense that like it's all coming together. All these things that you're working toward, the places that you're coming from, the place that you're going to, it's all coming together, and it's all for your benefit. And it's all going to have a place. So where you may have felt like the past was just something you were trying to get away from, it's going to have a place in your future. The people that oppose you, they have a place in your future. And that doesn't necessarily mean that maybe they're physically present in your future, but that they have contributed to your life, okay? In this picture, all things are culminating into one. Okay? And they're all going to have a special place. They're all going to have meaning and significance. You're going to look back on all of these events, past, present, and even the things you're yet to experience in the future, and you're going to see how they have shaped you, how they have molded you. This being in reverse, the thing I keep getting is that you don't need to work for it. You don't need to make it happen. You don't need to manipulate these factors into being. It's just going to happen. And, one day you're going to wake up and realize, wow, this person back here who hurt me, they really helped shape me, and I'm thankful for them. Or this situation that caused me to kind of burn everything to the ground and start over again, it was actually the best gift I could have had, and I celebrate that. There's a sense that even in all the hard work that you're doing right now, the idea may be there that it's always going to have to be that way, that it's always going to depend on your shoulders. And I'm hearing that it's okay to remember that the pieces will fall into place when they are ready to fall into place. And that's why you have your guides helping you through, helping you navigate. That's why you have these divine forces and presences. Because the good that you want is coming. It's a rocky road, but it's coming. And you know, the amazing thing about the rocky road part of it, though, even though I'm saying that, is that it's really just a rocky road. There's no physical obstacles, you know, and challenges. Those things can be overcome. The hardest parts are usually our mindset and our attitudes. And so apart from your fears and doubts that are happening right now in this kind of this current season of your life, like, you got this. Like, you really got this. Your attitude toward yourself and towards your world is good. And there's no like mindset issues that you're working toward or working like through. Okay, there's nothing, you're not deceiving yourself. You're not like being deceived by others, even if you're being opposed. You know, there's kind of these like grades of negative, I guess. So there's kind of like the low grades where you like are deceiving yourself and being deceived by others. But then there's like, you kind of get up here and it's like that lessens, you know, the negativity, that lessens, and you start to go here. I'm like, well, people can oppose me and people cannot like me, but that's not as horrible as them like just actively deceiving me. Okay. And then you kind of move on, and then it's like, well, people are in support of me, and people are, and the cat just came in. It's not a ghost. And so there's like a spectrum, right, of how people can choose to engage with you and how you can choose to engage with yourself. And I would say self-deception is definitely on the like far end of this spectrum. And then being really wide-eyed and both curious and yet able to question things is really kind of on this spectrum. So I would say, like, you've really done the work and you're over here. You're in a really good place. And so where you may start to notice obstacles and challenges along the way in your journey going forward, you should know that your approach to it is really good and really healthy, and it's going to serve you well. And so, I just got the connection to the doubts and fears. You need to believe that about yourself, okay? And you need to let go of the fear that you are going to be manipulated and deceived or misled or any of that, and trust that you are capable of approaching new information and new people with wide eyes and a wide open heart, and that you can really, you'll be able to discern. Okay, that's where the belief comes in, is believe in yourself that you are capable of discernment, of healthy discernment, and that, you know, even if you do choose to let someone in and they do end up hurting you, it's important to remember that in the end, it's really only you who can hurt yourself. And like I said, you're not in a place of self-deception. And so I think that your capability, your ability to hurt yourself right now is just very, very low. You're in a good place. You are in a really good place. I think the fears and the doubts have got you wondering about that. But big picture, you are on a good path, and good things are coming your way. Like, I'm getting goosebumps as this stuff is coming out, because I think I'm finally kind of, the picture is putting itself together. And relax is what I hear. Relax. You've got good forces on your side, and you've got a road ahead of you that is yours. So. Yeah, that went a little longer than I expected, but you can't stop the flow. So if you have any questions or, you know, any comments, I may be able to clarify, I may not. So just know I'm not the source. I'm the medium literally is traveling through me into you. So your source is your guides, your divine being, your higher power, however you want to look at that. And so you can ask me questions and I will try to answer them. But I would also really, like, if you're a praying individual, I would recommend also posing these questions to your higher powers, your spirit guides, your divine beings, and see what comes to you. Because a part of this process is, again, learning to trust yourself. And so as you get answers of your own, learn to trust those, and it's all going to be okay. All right, darling. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.